Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another B2B segment between two beards. I think this is our third one to date. I'm your co-host, Sylvain Perrier, President and CEO of Mercatus Technologies. And today's juicy topic is going to be about Instacart and the recent announcement of their relationship with Fabric. And joining me to talk about this juicy topic,
juicy
is my co-host, Mark Fairhurst, our VP of Marketing.
Good to be back for another episode, Between Two Beards. Sylvain, I can't help but notice that your locale is a little different.
Yes, it's so there's some stuff happening upstairs throughout the house. And my wife, who is in IT operations at one of Canada's largest airports, is working from home. So she kicked me out of my office, and which is nothing new for me. Let's be honest. She's taken over, and I've sequestered myself in the basement. And much like you, I have a place to work down here to kind of get away from the family, and it's nice and quiet.
Love the change in scenery. This could become Between Two Basements.
It's B2B. I don't have a nice TV behind me. No. What I have is, a flip chart with a graphic where I had to explain to someone the world of SaaS technology and business models. And so it's low tech, but it works.
Awesome.
What can I say?
All right, let's get into it. So Instacart's move into warehouse automation.
Yeah, it doesn't come as a surprise. Mm-hmm. We, for the last, I think, 2 to 3 years, we've heard rumors out there that Instacart was buying up real estate, looking at places, negotiating deals with various service providers that are out there. We've interviewed a bunch of the different providers on our show, Digital Grocer. And then back in March, when we did our show with Rick Watson, I think it was sometime mid-March, I mean, you brought it up, at one point is Instacart, not Instacart, and they are a retailer. Yeah. And so this announcement with Fabric, and there are rumors out there that the first retailer, I think, is going to be Publix.
That was Matt Newberg on his Hungry.tv report. I think that was late May, early June. He disclosed Publix would be likely the first retailer to sign up with them.
Yeah, I get that. I can see why the Florida market right now makes sense. I think, number one is Publix is entangled in a battle with Kroger. Kroger just recently launched their Ocado solution in that market. It is picking up an extreme amount of traction. And, Publix has to stay ahead of the game, and they have a bit of an edge to them in the sense, and a positive one in the sense that they're really not afraid to try new things. And the pandemic is, the fourth wave, and I don't even know if Florida's ever come out of the third wave, but the case count is climbing significantly high in the Florida market. Where I get really concerned, if I put myself in the shoes of a retailer, I get the attractiveness if you're doing a certain volume and you want to minimize the exposure of Instacart pickers and packers running through your stores, likely causing out of stock conditions in those environments. This idea of having an MFC available to you where you're not having to outlay the capital can be interesting, but at the same time, what are you surrendering? And we don't know, Mark, what's being discussed here. Is this MFC concept with Fabric and Instacart, is it single retailer only? So are they going to be picking orders for more than one order out of those facilities?
Right.
I would suspect Publix is going to be asking for some form of exclusivity. And I would assume that Instacart's going to say to Publix or whomever this retailer may be, say, this isn't a 2-year deal here. This is a 5, 6 plus year deal.
Yeah, you make this kind of investment, and it's interesting. I mean, to your point, we don't know what the entanglement will be. Is Instacart getting the retailer to foot the CapEx expense for this in return for a long-term contract. There's a lot of unknowns, but you're right. There's a positive from Instacart's perspective, and then the refrain has been that this is how Instacart goes direct to consumer. It's just
Right.
one more step in teaching Instacart how to be a direct to consumer retailer.
Well, I think they already know that. I think they know how to do this. So I think for them is, what are the chess pieces they can move today to get closer to the consumer in a way that completely removes the retailer? Because the reality is, if this MFC solution is offsite and not embedded in a box owned and controlled by the retailer, there's one that is controlled by Instacart. So who's fulfilling that MFC? Is it the retailer that's going to go straight from their distribution center? Are they going straight to a wholesaler? We don't know yet. Only time will tell us. And I'm going to tell the retailers, you have to be thinking about your own future independent of the third-party vendors that you work with. You have to lay this out. The one company that I thought would have beaten Instacart to this concept of partnering with an MFC, I always thought this would have been pure gold for Salesforce.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think we talked about it in one of our prior episodes.
Right. Why? We know Salesforce has been trying to get into grocery. They have published some of the pricing of their solution out there in the market. We've seen it in action in Europe, some of the technology and some of the challenges European retailers are having with it. But I always felt Salesforce was this company that has always been really good at packaging elements of technology, whether they own or don't own, and going out and saying, okay, we'll give you this. But I think they're probably distracted now with the acquisition of
Slack.
Sorry, my God, there's so many tools that we use. I know it starts with an S.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, they would have had the reach, the financial wherewithal. Certainly, I think from our perspective, the desire to build out the grocery retail vertical.
Right.
But you're right. I think they probably had their eye on a different ball, and with the acquisition of Slack, and it was not a small sum. I think it was like $27 billion US.
Yeah, US.
Probably have their hands full right now. So
absolutely.
So if a new retailer comes to us or to you and asks you, what should they be doing as far as receiving offers from Instacart to do this, what would your advice be?
My advice for them would be, what's your volume? I'd be curious more than anything, as opposed to providing advice out of the gate. I want to know, what's your volume? How many locations do you have active right now to your total roster of locations? What conditions are you seeing happening in those stores with a number of Instacart labor running through? And have you seen an increase, or are you living now through a potential decline in the total number of orders that are being picked and packed out of your facility? And what are the terms, and retailers can't share this with us, but what are the terms and conditions you're being asked to participate in an MFC program? Is it exclusive? Are you the only retailer, or is it a bunch of retailers being jammed into one location? And then I would probably, give some ideas on how they should approach it. My view has always been is that the last mile is becoming commoditized. There's choice for retailers out there. I mean, this is evident by Albertsons signing a deal with the folks over at Uber. And I think you will see Uber sign more deals in the not too distant future. I think really what's going to become apparent is that retailers will pick and choose the third-party vendors that best suit what they're trying to do. So it could be a mixture of Shipt, a mixture of Instacart, a mixture of DoorDash, and then Uber to satisfy their needs. And I think that this hype cycle that we're going through around MFCs, and I'm not saying MFCs are they don't make sense. You have to have sustainable volume to be able to justify that expense, and continuous volume and predictability around the potential level of increases. MFCs, you just don't dip your toe in the water and think it's cool to do. You have to have a handle on your business and have proven you've significantly outgrown your stores. I get why Instacart has done this. Their biggest expense right now, aside considering everything that they do from a technology perspective and so on, is the people that pick and pack and deliver.
Yeah,
and so they have to bring that under control.
Awesome insight. We're at the 10-minute mark or a little more. Fantastic to have this chat, and we look forward to our next episode. For those of you who want to get in touch with Mercatus or Sylvain directly, go to www.digitalgrocer.com, or you can also reach us at www.mercatus.com. Sylvain, till next time.
Thank you.
We've got more great episodes on digitalgrocer.com, and we'd love to connect with you on social media at Digital Grocer on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and at digital_grocer on Twitter. Like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you never miss another Digital Grocer podcast.